Hey gang, so today's a sponsored video by GEEONE, and they have sent through the Chenyu Guardian. This is a mechanical slider. It's actually really nice. Very surprising. It reminds me a lot of my old One Pal slider. We're going to open it up. We're going to get it under the camera. We're going to take it apart. There are a lot of parts in this thing. It's actually pretty impressive. I'm going to shut up now so we can start watching. And by we, I mean you. I'm rambling now. Let's go. Okay, here we go with the Chenyu Guardian. So when I first saw this, I wasn't really interested in it. I saw the posts and I thought, it's just another sort of mechanical slider. Do we really need one? The shape looked a little weird, so I wasn't really sure until I got it and I started playing with it. And the first thing I did, I made the mistake of opening it up like this and taking it and trying to kind of use it. And it got really weird on me really fast until I understood the fact that there is a post inside here. And the minute I flipped it over, then I started understanding the kind of the magic of this. This is very much like the One Pal. But the difference is with the One Pal, it's just an up and down motion. But then having that little spin is really nice. And this feels really good. Like, I don't know, like there's just something about the way they've dialed this thing in that I was really surprised. I was actually kind of shocked when I started using it. The only thing right off the bat I would say is that I immediately wanted to flip it over and use the indented side for my thumb. That just felt a little more comfortable, and you can. The problem is the post this is the side the post sits on. So when you're doing this, I'm sorry, the post is on the other side. Sorry. So you're sort of sliding this along the post. So you can see that when the post moves, the post is here, the track is on the top one. So I'm kind of moving this around the post. And then when you get it to the edges, it gets a little weird. So, and that's fine. I mean, some people are going to use it this way. I get that, but it's not really sort of the way it's been built to use. It's built to use it this way so that you can kind of go up and down and spin it, because the post, which just sits on this side, runs through the track here, right? And don't worry, we are going to open this up completely. Like, I mean, everything. So let's get right to it, actually. So the weight is nice. It's got a good feel to it. I'm not going to bother weighing it. I'm not a scale guy where I put things on the scale. I tried it for a little bit, didn't like it. Same with measuring. You can see to my hand, that's about how big it is, right? There you go, scientific. So let's get into this and open it up. This has a lot of little tiny parts to it, in the sense of like screws and balls and springs and stuff. And it's got a really neat sort of interior mechanism. So let's go right into it. So first we're going to start with our T6. I'm going to put my little catch cup there. And it doesn't really matter what side you start with in terms of opening up the plates. So let's go, we're just going to go track side. And I'm going to open this up one screw at a time. I will say too, this is the one thing that I've really started enjoying, that I've really started enjoying about mechanical sliders as opposed to magnetic sliders, is that when you open them up, you don't have magnets that go flying and snapping everywhere. Now you do, on the other hand, have springs and balls that try to kind of jump around. So you just need to be careful with that. Here, I'm going to put these guys right in here. Now that I have both sides off, I will leave this flat and I will gently pull this up to reveal inside. We have two balls and they run along the top plate. And this is what makes the clicking sound, right? These two balls run along here. And it's such an interesting mechanism to keep it in place, because all that keeps this in place are these two loose plates. And this will make sense when we put it back together. So right away, I'm going to take out my trusty plastic tipped tweezers. I love these because they're not magnetized, and they want to stay closed instead of opened. So when you, for example, grab something like a ball, you can transfer it, you can change it, doesn't matter because it stays closed. That to me is fantastic. So I'm just gonna grab this guy here, and I'm going to also grab one more thing, which is a magnet from my little kit here that comes with the torque screwdriver and stuff. And it's just one of the other little bits, but it's got a magnet on the end of it. You can see right here. And so it's just nice for things like pulling out screws. It's important to have the right tools when you're doing this kind of stuff, or it could be miserable. Okay. We have one side. Now we're going to take off the other side. And I'm just going to go in here. Get our 4 screws out. So it's a really interesting little machine, the way it's put together. Although I guess it's not a machine, right? Because one part has to move another part for it to be a machine. I don't know. I think so. Okay, so we got our 4 little screws. Put them on the other side. Now, I'm going to turn this over. And I'm just going to take this off. And, oh, this little guy popped out. But on the other side, this is what's so interesting with this, the way it's put together. So on the other side, we see we've got our little ring with the dimples in them. And we've got our little inner bearing here. Let me see, I'll pick this up. And these balls just run along the inside track here. And that's what causes the click when you turn it. So what makes this so cool, I think, is this whole piece runs off of, or I should say revolves around this little bearing on the inside. Now, I'm going to put these away too, because as we all know, these things like to go flying and you lose them, and then you try to put it together and you're like, where the hell did that go? So I'm going to get all my springs out, and I'm just going to put them in there. So now we have, I love these little cups, right? We've got our springs, balls, and 2 different sets of screws. That might have been a little dark. Okay, so everything runs or spins around this. So this side is where our track with the groove slides up and down. And then as we turn it, when we turn this side, it causes the housing to rotate. And then those things scrape along this side. So really, it's almost like a power struggle, right? You've got 2 sides here. And let me see if I can pop this back on without the balls in there. Is this going to work? Oh, here we go. It's meant to be like this. And that goes on here, right? Now, let's pretend this plate was sitting like that, okay? Remember, this plate has the track where the balls kind of bounce along the inside of the track. If I hold the top and turn the bottom, you can see it causes this inner circle to rotate, and those little balls are going to be bouncing along inside here. However, if I hold this side and move it up and down like that, then you've got these balls running along this plate. So it's just, I find these things fascinating. It's somebody thought this up, and I don't know, man, it's just cool. But here's what the most interesting part is, and you'll see that when we put this back together. So, all right, we've seen this. We know that 3 balls go into here. So let's get this back together. Now, if you ever do pull this apart, the thing to remember is that it does not go this way. Okay? you're going to have this little inner ledge that this circle sits against. And make sure that the post part goes through the hole. And then it just sits like that. So first thing we want to do is put our balls back in there. So let's look at bringing our cup back. And this is where having these kind of tweezers really help, right? And non-magnetic, there's one. I'm going to kind of go the little triangle pattern. There we go. Now these, when you're using these kind of tweezers, the one thing to be careful of is that when you get the balls, make sure you get them right in the middle, or they could sort of snap out because there's pressure coming down on both sides. But these guys are pretty good. I just like how easy it is to work with the plastic. I also have another pair here. These are really good, I find, for springs. Hold on, I'll show you these in a second when I have free hands. All right, so let's get back to this for now. Focus, Sean. Okay, so we have our 3 bearings or 3 little balls, and they are going to run along the inside of here. Now, I'm assuming you can add more, and then you could give it like a stronger feel, but I like it with 3. And you can see our little holes for the screws, so we just laid that right on top, and then just turn it over. And let's just start getting our screws in. Now this tip is a little magnetized, and I think the screws are a little magnetized as well. That certainly makes it handy to pick these guys up with. Except when you're trying to show people stuff one-handed, not as handy. Okay, but let's take this. That one in there. And at this point, you can kind of like let go of the pressure a bit. It's not really going to pop open at this point. You can kind of use both hands now. I'll get one more in here. Okay, get in there. All right, so we have our one side, and you can hear as I turn this, we're getting that mechanic sound because the balls inside, remember, are scraping across the lid here. So that's pretty cool. Now, here's where I got thrown off for a minute. So I looked at this, okay? And I was thinking, well, if I thought these were my holes, and how do I line this up with the screw holes to go in there? That doesn't make sense. And it was really, really confusing for a few minutes until I realized, you know what? First, let's put the balls in. Sorry. Oh, that was a cliffhanger. Until I realized, what, Sean, what? Let's get the balls in there first. Okay, so here, I'll show you with this other tweezer set, which I like too. Sometimes with these guys, I like for longer tweezers because they've got a little curve to them like this. So with the curve, it lets you just kind of like position it in a little better. And again, because it's plastic, it's not magnetized, right? So I'm just going to pop it into the lid here. And then just, again, I also love that when you apply pressure on the handle, it releases the grip instead of traditional, sort of standard tweezers where you have to squeeze them closed. This way you squeeze them open. So you're not always having to maintain that grip. So these are, I love these things. I'm going to go with the wider tip for the balls though. Pop them on there. Oh, come on now. There we go. Okay. Now all that's left are our screws. Okay. So what do these little plates do? Well, if you see here, now, why did I do this when the balls were in? Maybe I can do it while holding. There we go. So if you see along the side, there's a little ledge on this plastic part. And what happens is these plates sit along the ledge. And that's what prevents the top piece. Because remember, our lid, right? See these little holes here? The screw goes through that hole into the lid. So these little metal plates sit on both sides of this track, and this lip keeps it in position. So that threw me for a minute. Okay, I'm gently lifting my fingers up. There we go. So all I have to do is put the metal track in place. All right. And then the lid goes on. I start screwing it in. I'm racing my battery here. My camera's going to die any second. Okay, so there's something on, what's going on here? All right, so my camera died for a second. We're back though. Fresh memory card. I think it wasn't the battery, it was actually the memory card I was running out of. Okay. The trick here is making sure the plates, metal plates, are aligned properly inside. Oh, okay. This is important. You know what? I made a mistake here, and this is actually a really good thing to show. My screws weren't going in, and I couldn't figure out why. But I'm going to show you in a minute. I made a rookie mistake. That's good. It's good to learn. Okay. Now, yeah, there we go. Okay. If you'll notice, these plates have like a little flange to them. I think that's what you'd call them. Where, see the flat side? Just a flat hole. But on the other side, it's actually inset a little bit for the screw to sit inside. So what you have to make sure is that that inset part faces downward so that the screw can actually go in. I didn't have, this side was flipped over the wrong way. So if it's not going in, that's why. All right, let's get this back together. It'll be much happier now, I promise. I mean, it'll be happier if I actually get this in the hole. Okay, line it up. Yeah, see, so now the screws go in no problem because the head of the screw, let's see if we can get that. The head of the screw sits inside that little recess in here. It's because it has to sit flush, right? Or else you'd be scraping against it. So you can see when it goes in, the screw sits flush. That's why that part is so important. There we go. Let me clean my place up here a little bit. And that's it. So now you can see how holding one side is what controls the other side. So because I'm holding this side flat, it means that this piece is spinning the kind of inner core around. If I hold this side, then this piece is running up along the track side. Because again, this is where the post is sitting, right? And you could, now if you do this one though, what you have to do is go up and then the post is here, so then it rotates down. So you can kind of do this move, up and down, or down and up is really awkward because your thumb has to like like get all the way down here. So what you want to do is push it up and you can rotate down. So that is another move. And I mean, you can go sideways if you want. It's just weird because it's hard to kind of control how it's going to move. So that's why I would recommend, well, I mean, who am I to recommend how you're going to use this? But that's basically how I would use it. I mean, I'm already getting a bit of a cramp in my hand from doing this, but this way, to me, works much better. Because then you can take it, you can kind of spin it around, and you can still get that up and down movement. So this thing is really, really nice. If you're into mechanical sliders, like 1000%, at least try it. If you don't like it, you can always sell it. But this thing is great. I really, really, really enjoy this. Okay, gang, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments.